Right, I'm at the farming conference, and I'm with a couple of people who both spoke, husband and wife. They have a farm, and they're into water management and pollution issues, and that's Fiona.
Hello.
And your organisation is?
Affinity Water.
Affinity Water, and you are?
Ian Waller.
Ian Waller.
Run a business called Hampton Bottom Farm Limited.
Which was interesting because the size of it, 750 hectares, I think, which is about 2,000 acres-ish, which is about 5,000 verges, I presume, I would guess, which would be big by Jersey standards.
I should think so, yeah.
And you're also growing something which is a bit unusual by Jersey standards, wheat, basically.
Yeah, main crop is wheat.
Main crop. Now, is that what you've always grown?
Yeah.
Does the market dictate what you grow?
Yeah, I don't particularly like barley. I've grown oats in the past, but there's very poor margins in oats, very unstable market. And wheat, if you grow good quality wheat, there's a good market for it.
Now, you're on the edge of London, which everybody thinks, oh my God, you can't grow anything clean and wholesome near London. Obviously you can. And as I asked you the question, does it make any difference? You've got 4 airports near you, loads of traffic pollution. It doesn't make any difference to crops.
Not too much. The biggest issue is about anthropogenic pollution. So it'll be from things like fires, spillages, pollution events like that. They're the biggest issue that we would have.
If you were putting on, you were saying you put on certain things, chemicals on your land. The water pollution into the Thames isn't such a huge issue because there isn't that collection area, and quite the same way as Jersey. It's very small. Yeah. Everything runs off from here, goes into a reservoir somewhere. Yeah. But is there an issue here with leachate to joining fields? Somebody else's farm, they might not want your chemicals on their land.
No, chemical application is very, very targeted.
Right.
So much so that a small miss with the boom on the sprayer shows up in the fact that it hasn't controlled a weed, a disease, and you look foolish because you've missed a tiny bit. So I'm very, very confident my applications are targeted. They stay in the field, so much so that all my fields have got a margin, as we're saying. They're all full of wild flowers that I've planted, and the last thing I want to do is damage those, let alone anything the other side of the hedge. Are
they a natural indicator of the wildlife that tells you what's going on, does it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Do you rely on that at all for your testing?
We certainly look at, from a water quality point of view, where farm fields have got buffers in them, and we're really trying to encourage farmers that haven't got buffers, especially when we think there's water leaving the fields. So I think I showed you some slides in that presentation of runoff from fields. Right. And we do these wet weather walkover studies where actually when it is pouring with rain, we get the catchment team to go out into the fields and actually say, actually, is it really happening? Because it's rather than actually just taking somebody's word for it, we look at the high-risk areas and say, where are there problems? And where there are, we say, well, actually, if you put a buffer strip across here, that would really retain soil particles.
How applicable would your methods be here in Jersey? Because it's obviously very small scale here.
We're going to have to...
Yeah, really, it's very easy. I mean, field buffers don't have to be huge areas of land, and they can be very effective.
One of the troubles with this conference, they don't want the people to speak to the public. I'll just tell you this conference is hardly advertised at all. The public hardly knows it's going on.
We've got an appointment to go to,
so I would just, rather interesting here, they're looking at alternative crops. To the potato. Now, obviously, I presume potato isn't a big crop in your area.
No, because I've got too much stone. So East Anglia, it's a serious potato area.
Are people looking at alternative crops in your area?
This needs to be the last question now because we're really running late. So
yes, we're always looking for the magic panacea, but the trouble is you can run to something and think it's a really good crop to have, but when you get there, the market's flooded and the market's gone. So stick to what you know and do a good job of it.
I don't know where they're taking you, but I know I was interviewing somebody just now, they had to go, and I think the private jet was waiting for them.
Right, we haven't got private jet. Thank you very much, though.
I'm with one of the speakers at the farming conference. Your name is?
Lucy Hopwood.
And you were speaking on alternative crops, different crops, diversification.
Yes, that's correct. So we've been looking on behalf of the department, we've been looking at initially non-food crops for the island and now more broadly into just alternative crops for the island.
Now you're actually employed by the island government, Department of the Environment, I believe?
So yeah, we were commissioned on a project basis to research this. So we are the National Non-Food Crop Centre in the UK, so we're the experts on the non-food
Presumably
sector.
there are lots of private individuals trying to crack this very problem. They've got bits of land and they're trying to find alternative uses for it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting topic for quite a few years now. So non-food crops, alternative crops became fashionable maybe 10, 15 years ago, and we've had
I should want 5.
So it's been quite fashionable for a while now, and I think as commodity prices are increasingly volatile, it becomes more important.
What was interesting is part of what was in your crops, some of them fit in with potatoes, some of them probably don't. Now, have you had much discussion with the potato growers here about whether they would want to take on alternative crops?
Yeah, I mean, our remit, our scope for the project was really to look at crops that do fit in with potato production. So this is looking at the first part of the research. I'm entirely focused on annual crops that could fit in a rotation with crops, with the potato crops.
Now, obviously, all crops have their problems with pesticides or whatever, controlling them, feeding them, all that sort of thing. Is that going to be compatible? Is it inevitably compatible, or could it generate its own problems, alternative crops?
We've looked at, again, one of the key criterion was looking at crops that require low inputs in terms of fertilisers and chemicals, so they should be compatible with the aspirations of the island.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go.